this is Faith in Literacy, and welcome to part 2 of Teaching Digital Literacy. This is a comprehensive guide for elementary, middle school, and high school educators. Whether you are a classroom teacher, a specialist in education, a homeschooling educator, or a parent, don't go anywhere. And if you didn't check out part 1 of my Teaching Digital Literacy, make sure you circle back and look at that video and then come back to part 2. So in part 2, I'm going to be continuing to talk about what are some focus areas for middle school and high schoolers when approaching digital literacy. I'm also going to give you some tips as well as some activities and games that you can do to help reinforce their learning. So we know that digital literacy encompasses the ability to use digital tools and platforms effectively, evaluate digital content critically, and of course, communicate safely and ethically online. We know that technical skills, information literacy, communication skills, digital citizenship, and media literacy are just some key components when approaching digital literacy. We want to make sure that we are honing in on teaching kids those critical thinking skills, preparing them for the future, making sure that they know the difference between safe and unsafe behavior online, and of course, with all of these tools and strategies and skills that we're giving our students, we are going to empower them to use technology as a tool for learning, creativity, and communication. So let me continue with middle school. What can we do in middle school? Well, when I say middle school, I'm talking about students that are in grades 6 through 8th. Now, middle school students begin to explore more advanced concepts like evaluating online information and understanding what a digital footprint is. Now, some focus areas for middle school is helping to develop their research skills. This includes identifying credible sources of information. We want to make sure, just like we would teach students with tangible books, where they can find references and resources that they can use to help them in looking up information. We teach them that they just shouldn't rely on one piece of information, but they should go to multiple sources. Well, we want to make sure that we are translating that information, those skills, into the digital environment. We want to make sure that kids are not only using multiple sources, but also recognizing and identifying credible sources of information. We want to make sure that they understand privacy settings as well as how to manage a digital footprint. Now, what is a digital footprint? Well, a digital footprint is a record of a person's online activity. That includes websites they visited, social media posts, as well as any searches that they make. We want to make sure that they understand that when they get onto the internet, they leave a trail behind. This is so important to start instilling in our kids because when they get into high school and even into college, they need to know that colleges as well as future employees are going to take a look at their digital footprint. And we want to make sure that they are using the internet responsibly. So that means that we also want to broach the topic of exploring ethical uses of digital content. That means avoiding things like plagiarism. We don't want to raise a group of kids or a generation of kids that copy and paste, right? They need to understand that copying and pasting someone else's work and pretending that it is theirs is plagiarism, and it is a no-no. So we want to make sure that they understand how can they read the information that they're finding and how can they summarize that information and put it in their own words. We also want to teach them about responsible uses of platforms like ChatGPT or other uses of AI. We want to make sure that they're not just plugging some information in to AI and using that information that was written for them as their own work. We also want to make sure that we are recognizing and combating cyberbullying. In the early and mid 2000s, there were lots of great campaigns going on in schools about bullying and bullying behavior. Well, we want to make sure that we're translating that information to the online platform and that cyberbullying is not okay. And then, of course, this is a great opportunity to introduce coding and basic programming concepts to students. Now, what are some activities that you can use? Well, you can play a game like Fake versus Fact. Use examples of real and fake news articles to practice distinguishing between credible and unreliable sources of information. Or how about a cyberbullying role play? Act out scenarios that explore the impact of cyberbullying and the appropriate responses. Or how about when introducing simple coding and other programs to middle schoolers? Use platforms like Scratch or code.org that introduces these basic programming skills and allows them practice. Now, some tips for educators. You want to make sure that you are encouraging group projects that incorporate research and technology. And of course, this is great because it also is having them practice their group learning skills, their listening skills, and their communication skills. And we also want to make sure that we're using age-appropriate videos as well as articles that's going to spark discussion about online safety and ethics. Now, what about high school students? This is grades 9 through 12. High school students should develop advanced digital literacy skills to help prepare them for college, careers, and of course, informed citizenship. So what are some areas of focus you want to do for high schoolers? Well, of course, getting them into advanced research skills, including citations and more about plagiarism prevention. Remember, you are preparing these high schoolers for college and their careers. You want to make sure that they understand digital rights and responsibilities. What is their role online? How do they evaluate bias and credibility when looking at digital content? As well as how can you help them start to build a professional online presence for college and beyond? Now, some activities you can do with them are source evaluation workshops, where you analyze websites and articles to determine their credibility and to see if they have any bias. You also want to start helping them build their digital resume. Use platforms like Canva and LinkedIn to create professional online profiles. And of course, spark debate with ethical debates. Discuss topics like digital privacy, social media ethics, and artificial intelligence. And some tips? Well, you want to make sure you're integrating digital literacy into subject-specific lessons, like analyzing online historical sources in history class, for example. You want to also make sure that you're encouraging critical discussions about the impact of technology on society. Now, teaching digital literacy is essential at all grade levels to prepare students for the demand of the modern world. If you want to know more, check out my blog at aplushometutoring.com. And don't forget to like, share, and follow me. And engage. I'm Faith in Literacy, and I'll check you later.